Dickens. My report to the club last year began with the words of an old Chinese curse, "May you live in interesting times." But even the most far-sighted of us on that day would not have dreamed up the astonishing events that started to unfold exactly a year ago this week. I quoted Peter Bruce, then speaking of SAA, who commented on the pantomime that continues to surprise, amuse, and confound. Well, it appears to be an unending pantomime. The commissions of inquiry continue to expose malfeasance at every turn of the road, but few prosecutions have yet been brought in yet another most eventful year for the body politic in the modern history of South Africa, except Ace Magashule has now been arraigned, and former President Jacob Zuma is due to appear before the Constitutional Court later this month for being in contempt of said Constitutional Court on 2 occasions. So watch that space. And also Batabili Dlamini, for those of you who've been watching the press, is sending loud wails of dismay, is twittering loud wails of dismay over what has happened to her pension in the findings of the court that decided that in fact she was personally responsible for some of the devastation at the Social Services Agency in South Africa. Interesting times indeed. But then the coronavirus burst upon us and turned the world upside down, with impacts on us personally and economically, none of which we could have foreseen, not least the loss of our civil liberties and the fact that we've now been living in a totalitarian dictatorship in a state of disaster since then. And we're only starting to understand the massive economic impact of the attempts by central government to come to grips with the coronavirus and its prevention and now its treatment as well. So we cannot say that the year under review has been yet another in a succession of good years, which the club has enjoyed, because we didn't. However, membership numbers have been sustained, although monthly lunches have had to cease, except for the January and February lunches last year and the 2 events that some of us were able to attend at Rand Park Golf Club in November and December last year, which included Armistice Day and the fly past happily performed for us there by the Flying Lions, thanks to Arnie Menegeli and Scully Levine. And Scully, by the way, has also sent apologies for this meeting. He's elsewhere. And a total of 164 attended those events, which was well down on the 700 odds that we reported in previous years. But that was by force majeure, not because of the wishes of any of the members. Membership then, this past year, 2 of our members passed away, Eric Henderson and then Stan Smith, a long-standing member of the club and a former member of this committee. Andy Auld emigrated to the UK to what he termed unmitigated financial disaster in the so doing. On the other hand, we're pleased to record that the following new members in various categories joined us during the year under review: Kun Swart, Gavin Brown, Captain Johnny Woods, Colonel T.C. Schultz, and in fact in this new year, but I'll mention them now, General John Boardman and Captain John Harty. So we continue to hold our own in the key area of membership, which, as we've commented so often, is the lifeblood of this or any other similar organization. And thanks again to all who brought guests or introduced them, these new members to the club. A warm welcome to them all. On the financial front, as you will hear shortly from the Honourable Treasurer when he presents his financial report, the club continues happily to enjoy good financial health. Annual subs remained unchanged at 75 Rand. And I record our thanks to our Treasurer, Jeff Earl, for his stewardship of our financial affairs, and likewise to our Honour Auditor, Clive Shepherd, for promptly and efficiently performing the annual audit which is required of our financial statements. The Wanderers Club. Wanderers and Silver Sail were immediate casualties of the lockdown, the initial lockdown, and brought to an end our long-standing, open and friendly relationship with the Wanderers management and with Pedro Silva and his Silver Sail team. Wanderers is slowly coming back to life, as you will have seen in the newsletters, and the club chairman, Colin Warner, has made it clear that we will be most welcome once the new caterers, 14, that's the name of the new caterers, not 14 in number, are able to resume functions. And on a happy note, 14 have re-employed many of the previous waiters at the club whom we've got to know over time. Moving now to functions. Last year, the SAF celebrated its centenary year, as did the Era Club of South Africa. And there were many celebrations planned for the year. However, apart from the Air Force Day parade and flypast, with restricted attendance, all the planned parades and ceremonial occasions and memorial services had to be cancelled, with one or two exceptions, such as the City Reserve parade that's organized by the Moth, the Warsaw Flights Service, which was organized by Martin and Jean Urry and took place in the Catholic Church in Norwood, and the annual memorial service at the Cenotaph in Johannesburg, at which we were represented along with Rafa and Safa, all of which took place subject to COVID protocols, as did our two RAFOC lunches. And our thanks to John Adams for organizing those two lunches in November and December. Member satisfaction. The founding statement of our objective as RAFOC is to perpetuate the spirit and history of the Royal Air Force by providing a framework for social interaction between members who seek to share experiences of aviation and to recreate as much as possible the atmosphere and traditions characteristic of an RAF officer's mess. So thank you, Bob, for wearing your tie today. Successive committees have been very much aware of this in the planning and the conduct of club functions, so as to foster the collective fellowship and enjoyment of all members. With the enforced interruption of physical meetings, we introduced a weekly RAFOC Ramblings news sheet. Members' news, reminiscences and ramblings, items of Air Force interest, or greetings to the club, or any other happenings of interest that would help us all to keep in contact and hopefully change through the lockdown. Thanks again to all those who've contributed and continue to do so. We will use the contributions progressively as we move, hopefully, onwards and upwards. There has been very positive feedback to the ramblings and a continuing variety of good contributions, which, absent lunches, is probably the best indicator of member satisfaction currently, as well as the continued inflow of new members. Given the good feedback, your committee deduces that the majority are happy with the way the club is running in these very strange times. We're keenly aware of the imperative to keep raising our game in appropriate ways in what we hope will be a return to some normality and freedom of movement very soon, while continuing to maintain and celebrate our traditions and history. And so to the future of the club. Happily, despite the South Africa's state of disaster, RAFOC has continued to be a going concern to the extent that we've been able. May I thank those of you who attended such functions as we were able to hold, who've arranged access to flying days and events, various, those who've introduced like-minded people and friends to the club, including those whose fathers or family served in the RAF. Particular thanks go to those who have gone out of their way to keep touch with and bring along to functions where possible senior members to whom transport or personal mobility is now an issue. I'm again pleased to report that the outgoing committee members have made themselves available for re-election at this AGM, and my personal thanks to my colleagues on the committee and indeed to you all for your support and encouragement during my tenure as chairman. It's been a privilege to serve. The future of the club is in your hands as the membership, and may we continue to enjoy the camaraderie, the fun and fellowship of this club for as many years as are left to us. Thank you all.
If you want to comment on.
You've got to unmute yourselves, I think.
No, nobody's talking, Bruce. Thank you very, very much. I think there was a magnificent synopsis of what cooked and inspirational under these terribly trying circumstances. Thank you.
May I echo the same sentiments? Very good. Very, very well, very succinct, very nicely put.
Thanks, Russell.
Likewise, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Really excellent, Bruce. Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you, Captain. Then thank you all for the kind words, and may we ask for a proposer then and seconder of the chairman's report.
I'll propose it, Bob Garbett.
Bob Garbett. Thank you.
And I second.
Clive, welcome. You've managed to make it. Thank you.